Hey guys, if your person is a Sagittarius, this is going to be your reading. All right, let's get a significator. And that's Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, so let's get a significator for the energy. Generally, we have discontent, okay? Um, they're not happy. They're not happy. It feels like, because these trees look like bars, they feel like they are in prison or they're restricted in some way, and especially restricted from showing their authentic self, because look, we have this mask here, okay? So they feel like they perpetually have to live behind a mask, live in the shadows, and not be able to show their true self, especially to family members. There's a lot of trees here, and trees for me always represent ancestors or family trees, okay? So it feels like this person, when it comes to their family, they have a different persona. And then when it comes to their um, romantic partners, there's a different persona. And then when it comes to work, they have a different persona. To their children, there's something else. So people might call it social flexibility, certainly. But when it's this widespread, it feels like someone who does not have a sense of self, and their own identity. And if they do have that identity, it's not an identity that they're proud of. Even though we may tweak ourselves sometimes in order to fit into or assimilate into certain groups, if you move from group to group, they must be able to say, yes, this is something that she would do, or this is something that he would do, this is something that they would do, right? Because the essence of yourself always remains the same, even though you might tone down or turn up. The essence of you is still the same. But this person's not like that. Everything changes. Their values change, right? The things they stand for change. The way they speak, everything changes. So it's a real social chameleon. It's not talking about versatility. This is not about versatility. It's not social about, this is not social flexibility. This is a social chameleon, right? Whatever you want, this is who they're going to be, if it's going to get them some sort of validation. Okay? And I think they're just fed up of living that kind of lie. Let's see their energy towards you. I've shuffled all of these already. I'm just doing it on camera because it makes people feel assured. They think that you are their soulmate. They sure do, right? And they think that both of you guys have some sort of psychic connection. We have the third eye here connected to another person. So that's what they truly believe, right? And it feels like your presence in this person's life has triggered some sort of spiritual awakening for them, has pushed them to stand firmly in their power and surrender to spirit. It feels like you've been a catalyst in this person's life, and you've triggered a lot of inner child healing for them, because that's what turns someone into a social chameleon, right? When they weren't allowed to develop a strong sense of self, when they weren't allowed to discover who they really were, right? They put on the clothes of their parents, right? The ego, the clothes of their parents, the programming, and they thought this is who I am. But as they grow older, they realize that a lot of things that they introverted, introjected, sorry, right? They don't really vibe with. I don't really believe that. I was taught to believe that. My family believes that, but I don't really believe that. Right. So this it's a deep self-examination that's happening right now. And they're discarding what works for them and what doesn't work, what they truly believe, how they want to see the world, how they want to perceive divine, God, goddess, whatever it is. It's that big kind of revamping of themselves that's happening right now, and you trigger that. You trigger that. Let's see what your person wants to talk about. What do they want to talk about? What do they want to tell you? We have melancholy. Oh, so it feels like dark night of the soul if we get in this melancholy card. And then we have this butterfly um, change, right? Um, I think they've been isolating themselves. I think the changes that have been happening within them have been so profound. They're not ready to show the world that just yet. So I think it's deep introspection, definitely, as they figure out who they are. And when you figure out who they are, then you want to figure out, what do I want to do in this life? Where do I want to go? Like, what's my vision for my future kind of thing? So these are the hard questions that they're asking themselves. I think they always thought they knew what they wanted, but now that they figured out who they are, what they want is changing too. What do we have here? What do they want to talk about? You are their sweetheart. Oh, you are their sweetheart. You are their love. Is she taking a selfie? I don't know what it is she's doing. They think you're so photogenic. They think you're so beautiful. I think this person's like awed by your beauty, and not just the physical beauty. It's not that. Just awed by everything and about who you are. For some of you, you might be a bigger person or fuller person. They just enjoy how you embrace yourself, how you put yourself out there, right? We have the Ten of Wands, and that talks about, our baggage, especially our unprocessed baggage. We have the Five of Swords, self-sabotage. And we have the Four of Wands. Okay. It looks like they did their best to try and destroy this connection for whatever reason, right? Commitment for, but you didn't fit in with their whole masquerade, right? Because if you're authentic, you're not going to fit in with a person who is changing everything about who they are every few hours or so, right? So it feels like because of their baggage and what their baggage made them do to survive, being a social chameleon, it feels like they sabotaged this relationship. They did everything to basically turn this relationship, this connection on its head. They did their best to destroy it, right? Because whoever you are, whatever you are, didn't fit into their idea of what is acceptable or perfect in society's eyes. And remember, your person always wants to be acceptable or perfect in society's eyes, but you're not that person. You are the okay. Well, if society doesn't like it, well, fuck them, right? You're that kind of person, but they're not that, or they weren't that. They were, this is what society dictates. This is who I'm going to be. I want that validation. I want to be accepted, right? And maybe that caused a lot of tension between you guys in the past, because you always want authentic experiences whilst they always want to like keep up with the Joneses, okay, and everything that goes with that. Let's get a message from their higher self. What's their higher self's advice for you at this time? So it feels like they sacrificed this connection to fit in, and maybe they even chose another partner that society found more socially acceptable. What do we have here? Self-value, but everything they did is just a reflection of how they see themselves, and they didn't have much stock in themselves in the first place. Okay, and that's why they always trying to get the approval of others, right? Because they didn't really approve of themselves. What's the higher self's advice for you this time? Your higher self wants you to know why your person is the way they are. It feels like your person grew up in a home where the parents' relationship was shitty. Let's put it mildly. Was really shitty. It felt like a lot of distrust, a lot of disharmony, especially behind closed doors. But then when they got out in public, everybody was supposed to act like the happy family. And that's what your person learned, that, no matter what's happening, you put on that happy face, you put on that mask for the world, you do whatever it takes to be socially accepted, even if it means staying with a partner where you guys are fighting like cats and dogs all the time. And that might even be an insult to cats and dogs, right? So behind closed doors, it looks like the relationship with their parents, it might have been abusive. They might have not even spoken to each other, but when they went out in public, happy family, everybody put on their smiley face mask, and they just got through it, and that's what your person thought was normal. So basically, they recreated this in their life. So instead of looking for a true, authentic connection, they just wanted one that looked good to those on the outside looking in. So, that's what the higher self wanted to know. So basically, the higher self's message is, don't take it personal. It had nothing to do with you. It was not a rejection of you or who you are. It was a rejection of themselves. Okay? All right, my love. So that was your reading. Please like, share. Please subscribe to the channel. That'll be so helpful. Take care.